Rain hammered against the glass walls of the 23rd floor while Amelia Laurent sat frozen in her wheelchair, staring at the city she had once conquered. Below her, thousands of headlights blurred through the storm like ghosts racing through the dark. Inside the massive office, the silence was unbearable except for the mechanical hum of the chair that had become her prison for 20 long years. Then the emergency alarm suddenly failed, the elevators shut down, and a soaked delivery driver carrying 2 paper bags stepped into her office by accident, completely unaware that within the next few hours, he would change the life of the most powerful woman in the city forever. If you believe kindness and second chances can change lives, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Ever Kind Stories. Your support helps bring more emotional stories like this to people around the world. Amelia Laurent had once been called the Iron Queen of Wall Street. At 32 years old, she had built Laurent Global into one of the largest technology corporations in America. She was brilliant, ruthless, elegant, and feared by competitors who could barely survive one meeting with her. Every magazine wanted her on the cover. Every investor wanted her attention. She had built an empire from nothing after growing up in poverty with a sick mother and an absent father. Success became her armor. Work became her heartbeat. And love became something she always believed could wait. But 20 years earlier, on a winter night that still haunted her dreams, everything had shattered. Amelia had been driving home after signing the biggest contract of her life. Snow covered the roads. Her phone kept ringing with congratulations from executives and investors. Somewhere between one red light and the next, a truck lost control on the icy highway and slammed directly into her car. The impact crushed the driver's side instantly. By the time rescue workers cut her free from the twisted metal, her spine had suffered catastrophic damage. The doctors told her she would never walk again. At first, Amelia refused to believe them. She spent years chasing treatments across the world. Switzerland, Germany, Japan. Experimental surgeries. Endless therapy. Millions of dollars poured into hope that slowly turned into heartbreak. Every failed treatment hardened her further. Eventually, she stopped trying. She stopped smiling. She stopped allowing anyone close enough to see her pain. Her company grew bigger, but her world grew smaller. Employees feared her coldness. Executives whispered about her impossible standards. Her mansion felt more like a museum than a home. The only people who entered her life were assistants, nurses, lawyers, and board members. Every morning she woke to the same routine. Every night she stared at the ceiling wondering what her life might have been if she had simply taken another road home that snowy night. Meanwhile, across the city, Daniel Reyes lived a completely different life. Daniel was 39 years old, exhausted most days, and permanently behind on bills. He worked 2 delivery jobs while raising his 8-year-old daughter Lily alone after losing his wife, Sophia, to cancer 3 years earlier. Every day felt like survival. He woke before sunrise, packed Lily's lunch, drove her to school, delivered groceries and takeout until his back ached, then returned home to help with homework before collapsing into bed for a few hours. But despite everything he had lost, Daniel still carried kindness inside him. People noticed it in small moments. The way he carried groceries for elderly customers without being asked. The way he left encouraging notes on deliveries to lonely people during holidays. The way he always smiled at strangers even when life gave him every reason not to. Lily once asked him why he still helped people when nobody seemed to help them. Daniel had kissed her forehead and said that pain either turns people cold or teaches them how badly warmth is needed. That rainy night, Daniel almost rejected the final delivery order because the storm had become dangerous. But he needed the extra money for Lily's school trip. So he accepted the order and drove downtown through flooded streets toward Laurent Global headquarters. When he arrived, the lobby was nearly empty because most employees had gone home early due to the weather. A power surge had damaged several systems in the building, including the elevators. Security guards rushed around trying to manage the chaos while Amelia remained trapped upstairs waiting for emergency technicians. One exhausted employee handed Daniel a temporary access card and pointed toward the service elevator, unaware it had malfunctioned halfway to the executive floor. Daniel climbed the remaining stairs carrying the food order, soaked to the bone and breathing heavily by the time he reached the top floor. That was how he accidentally entered Amelia Lawrence's office. She looked furious at first. Her sharp gray eyes locked onto him with immediate irritation. Her perfectly tailored black suit contrasted cruelly against his wet jacket and worn shoes. Everything about them belonged to different worlds. Daniel apologized quickly and placed the food on her desk, preparing to leave. Then the lights flickered again. The entire floor went dark. For several long seconds, thunder echoed through the building while emergency backup systems struggled to activate. Amelia's wheelchair froze completely. And for the first time in years, fear crossed her face. Daniel noticed instantly. Without hesitation, he set down his own phone flashlight beside her desk and knelt near the chair controls. He wasn't an engineer, but years of repairing broken things out of necessity had taught him enough. After several tense minutes, he manually restarted part of the system and restored minimal power to the chair. Amelia stared at him silently. Most people around her acted nervous, fake, or overly careful. But Daniel treated her like a human being instead of a powerful symbol. It unsettled her more than she expected. The storm worsened outside, trapping them temporarily inside the office tower while emergency crews worked downstairs. Hours passed. They spoke little at first. Amelia remained guarded while Daniel respectfully kept his distance. But eventually, something unusual happened. Lily called her father. Daniel answered immediately, and Amelia overheard the conversation. Lily excitedly described a drawing she made at school while Daniel listened with complete attention despite his exhaustion. His voice softened in a way Amelia had not heard in years from anyone. Pure love filled every word. When the call ended, silence settled again. Then Amelia quietly asked about his daughter. It was the first personal question she had asked anyone outside business matters in months. Daniel showed her a photo of Lily missing her front tooth and grinning beside a birthday cake that looked homemade and imperfect. Amelia stared at the image longer than expected. Something painful stirred inside her chest. Years earlier, doctors had told Amelia her injuries likely prevented her from ever becoming a mother. Back then she had pretended not to care because work always came first. But seeing Daniel's tired eyes light up while talking about Lily awakened grief she had buried beneath decades of ambition. The storm forced them to remain there until after midnight. As hours passed, conversation slowly unfolded between them like fragile threads reconnecting two broken people. Daniel told stories about Sophia, about hospital nights holding her hand, about learning to braid Lily's hair through online videos after his wife died. He spoke honestly without self-pity. Amelia found herself listening in ways she had forgotten were possible. Then Daniel asked her something nobody dared ask. He asked if she was happy. The question landed like a knife. For 20 years, people had admired her success, feared her authority, envied her wealth. But nobody had asked whether she was happy. Because the answer was obvious. No. Amelia looked toward the rain-covered windows and admitted quietly that she could not remember the last time she felt alive. Daniel did not offer fake inspiration or motivational speeches. He simply sat there beside her in the dim emergency lighting and said something she would carry forever. He told her that surviving is not the same as living. That sentence cracked something inside her. Over the following weeks, Amelia could not stop thinking about him. Not because he pitied her. Not because he admired her wealth. But because he reminded her of the person she used to be before pain turned her heart into stone. Eventually, she arranged another delivery from Daniel's company. Then another. Soon, brief conversations became regular moments she secretly anticipated. Daniel never treated her like a billionaire CEO. He spoke to her honestly. Sometimes he challenged her cold outlook. Sometimes he simply shared stories about Lily's school projects or memories of Sophia. Slowly, Amelia's office changed too. Employees noticed she no longer screamed during meetings. She began funding employee healthcare programs after hearing Daniel describe medical debt. She created scholarships for single parents. She even started eating lunch outside her office instead of isolating herself daily. But the greatest change happened privately. For the first time in nearly 2 decades, Amelia agreed to begin physical therapy again. Not because she suddenly believed in miracles. Because Daniel made her believe life might still hold meaning even if she never walked. Her therapists were shocked by her renewed determination. Rehabilitation was painful beyond words. Muscles long weakened resisted every movement. Some days she cried from frustration after sessions ended. Some nights she nearly quit. But Daniel kept showing up. Sometimes with coffee. Sometimes with Lily's silly drawings taped onto delivery bags. Sometimes with nothing except quiet encouragement. Months passed. Then one morning, during a therapy session filled with exhaustion and tears, Amelia moved her left leg slightly on her own. The therapist froze. Amelia thought she imagined it. But it happened again. Tiny. Weak. Barely visible. Yet real. After 20 years of paralysis, dormant nerve responses had begun returning through experimental therapy she once abandoned years earlier. Doctors cautiously explained that emotional recovery often affected physical rehabilitation more than people realized. Amelia's renewed mental engagement, reduced stress, and determination had reignited possibilities previously considered hopeless. The progress was painfully slow. There were setbacks. Failures. Days when nothing improved. But Amelia no longer faced them alone. 1 year after the stormy night they first met, Amelia stood for 4 trembling seconds using support bars inside the rehabilitation center. 4 seconds. It felt like reclaiming an entire lifetime. Daniel cried openly beside Lily while therapists applauded. Amelia cried too. Not because she stood. Because for the first time in 20 years, she finally understood she had been emotionally paralyzed far longer than physically. The real miracle was never simply movement returning to her legs. It was love, connection, and kindness returning to her soul. As months became years, Amelia transformed Laurent Global completely. She launched programs for disabled workers, free rehabilitation centers for low-income patients, and support funds for widowed parents. Her company stopped being known only for profit and became known for compassion. And Daniel? He never became rich. He never wanted fame. But he became family. Lily eventually called Amelia her second mom long before anyone officially acknowledged the bond between them. Their home filled with warmth instead of silence. Holiday dinners replaced lonely board meetings. Laughter echoed through hallways that once felt empty. One evening, years later, Amelia stood beside the large windows of her penthouse watching rain fall over the city again. But this time she stood on her own legs with Daniel's hand gently holding hers. The storm outside no longer felt lonely. Because one exhausted single father carrying paper bags into the wrong office had unknowingly delivered something far greater than food that night. He delivered hope back to a woman who thought her life had ended 20 years earlier. And sometimes, the people who save us are not surgeons, billionaires, or heroes from movies. Sometimes they are tired fathers working double shifts, carrying invisible pain, yet still choosing kindness anyway. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Everkind Stories. Your support helps keep these emotional stories alive and reminds the world that even the smallest act of kindness can completely change someone's life.
If you believe in kindness, kindly please subscribe my channel and press the bell icon to get all the notifications. If you like this story, so write a comment below and share with this your friends. Thank you so much for watching.